Here's what happened. I remember being in this like Italian restaurant. It'd been a few years since I graduated with a friend that was also an entrepreneur. And I remember we kept going back and forth, sharing like the challenges that were coming up, venting, talking about all the shit that we were having to deal with. And I remember being really pissed off. And I kept bringing up how it sucked that there wasn't anyone that wanted to mentor me and help me to show like the path. Like, wouldn't that be nice? And that for me became the start for then what happened a few years later to realize that the world doesn't revolve around me. And that's where I want to start. This is Make Burnout Extinct. I'm Robert David Weeks. Before getting into it for today, I want to say thank you for listening. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and follow this show for the latest episodes. My commitment to you by you doing that is to make this the best show it can be. And the support already for this has been so incredible and awesome, and I'm really grateful for it. I will also focus on being the best storyteller that I can be for you, the best researcher that I can be, and the best interviewer for the guests that are coming on to share their insights with you, all focused on this mission of Make Burnout Extinct. So thank you for being a part of this movement and listening to this show. Today, I want to get into telling you as a reminder that it's not your fault if this is something that you also thought. And I don't look at the world revolves around me in that narcissistic view of at the expense of everyone else, but just how I thought things were supposed to work. It felt like I was a zoo animal that just was released out into the wild, the real world, and I was not expecting what was coming my way for the challenges and having to navigate this thing. And for me, I connect that back to like three things that you could resonate with, which is how I grew up. I grew up in a pretty strict house where my mom was really on me for sticking to things, especially cleaning was one. And then throughout growing up, I was in a structured environment. So I had family, then, going to school, having that structure there. And then, during the summers, I would go to a summer camp, and there was a lot of structure around that of like, it was all boys camp focused on the motto was shake a hand, make a friend. It was teaching you skills on communication, responsibility, being able to be a part of a community. But there was a lot of structure that was there. And then going into college and starting to study entrepreneurship and getting that support from the teachers. And then also the community as I was a student. And you have this like, it feels like this awesome pass to use as a student where people are more willing to share with you their insights and what helped them to start their business, rather than when you graduate and all of a sudden you turn into like a potential competitor and all of a sudden people aren't as willing to like share with you what's going on. So as a student, I felt that of like that support of being able to learn. And I thought for a second when I graduated that it was going to be more of the same. Turns out it's not. And you don't really get fully prepared for it. At least in my experience, I didn't get fully prepared for that, of what it's like to go into the wild. And it really is the wild. Like I think back to being like that zoo animal, and all of a sudden you're just thrown into this and you have to figure it out. And it can feel very unsupportive in that way. And I think about that for like, there was a point where I thought there was going to be this magic potion that I would drink and all my problems would be solved. And there is no magic potion to solve all your problems. There is no warrior coming to protect you. And I know that that can be really hard to hear. But what I want to tell you is that it doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck in the situation that you're in, where you may feel unsupported by your family, friends, or community right now. You could be feeling alone in wanting to create and stay consistent with your better habits. Or you do think that there is that magic potion out there that will solve all your problems. And so you're trying to look for that answer without, in the meantime, focusing on improving your life. And if you fall into any one of those categories, this is going to be for you, what we're going to get into. So on the foundation, what I want to dive into are two options for you. Keep things as they are, which can then cause you to have the anxiety bubble come up even more in your life, because then it creates more uncertainty for your future and you feel like you're not able to make any progress. And so you just stay stuck and let that anxiety build and build and build. Or that can then compound in building the stress that comes up or that overwhelm. But whatever of those feelings that are being really difficult right now to deal with, that all of that is going to then cause the burnout beast to drag you towards hitting burnout and going down that path. That's a one-way ticket to burnout, is keeping things as they are, with the stress and the fatigue and the chronic exhaustion that comes with it. And just those days where you wake up and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing right now? That miserable feeling. That's option one. Or you have option two, which is you can make a change. And I want to tell you that you're capable of making a change, no matter how small. And actually, what's really important to remember is to start small. That gives you the highest percentage chance for consistency in the long term, which is what I want to focus in on for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share simple habit strategies that will give you back your power and help you to realize, and this is the first of many for remembering, that you have most of your answers to your problems. They are hidden or buried really, really deep underneath lots and lots and lots of layers of self-doubt, uncertainty, thinking externally everyone's going to have the answer for you. Buried underneath all that shit, you have the answers to your problems. But what we can leverage, and what I'm going to get into for you to help you, is you can leverage the outside world of inspiration and things that you don't know about to help spark those answers for you. So what I want to get into first for another, or not first, but one of the other points I want to get into is that you have to understand what isn't working for you in your life right now. Being able to figure out if that is your health and fitness, feeling like, okay, you put on a little extra pounds, you're feeling a little self-conscious, you don't feel comfortable in your body, you're noticing that your energy isn't where you want it to be. So that could be on the health and fitness side. You could also have things that aren't working in your relationships and how you're communicating with your partner, with your friends, family, especially. That's when that comes up for me, is like that difficulty of having to navigate that and really tell people how you truly feel, where you may, like me, felt like everyone else was talking over you and you didn't have an opportunity to be able to share your feelings and your thoughts growing up as a kid going into an adult. So it's time to make a change. Or it could be in your career, feeling like things just aren't working out financially. You feel like that it's a struggle right now, or feeling like when it comes to responsibilities, you're wanting more of it, but you have that fear that's bubbling up of being able to move forward. You want other people to give you those opportunities, or tell you how great of a job you're doing, or say, hey, you really deserve this promotion. It's like we want to have other people call us out for what we're doing. And that is so tough to then live your life in that way if you aren't being able to do that for yourself. So first is identifying what isn't working. And I bet you have one or two things that come up right away. Then it's being able to connect that to what you want more of. And how I think about that is when I had realized that I was struggling with my memory. This happened, I want to say, it was earlier this year, where I was really struggling to remember things in my life. And it was just one of those moments where it's that brain fog that just hits all the way through. And I'm thinking back to like certain moments in my life, trying to be like, hey, what was I like in elementary school, middle school, high school? Man, like I totally forgot about that moment where my partner and I went on that adventure, and like she's telling me about it. And I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Like that came up. And I'm thinking then, for when it comes to storytelling and wanting to share with you more of these type of stories, I'm like, damn, dude, what's going on? Why is it a struggle? So it was in that moment where I was like, this isn't working for me, is remembering these memories. And then all of a sudden, what I thought for an idea, and it just popped up randomly. And this is something to remember for you, is usually your body is going to give you that answer at first. And it may not logically make sense, but it's important to take curiosity and expand on it. Because what was coming up for me was I realized that I was also my health and fitness journey. I was calculating how many calories, how much grams of fat, grams of protein that I was taking in. And I was doing that all on a calculator on my phone. And then I thought to myself, okay, like I want to actually, like, I want to see if this helps if I were to do the math in my head. Like that would be super cool to be able to do that really fast. And then am I going to notice any connection point? And I'm like, I want to just do more of it. And all of a sudden I realized when I did the math in my head, and at first it sucked. Like I was trying to get the numbers in for the calories and the protein. And I was just like, man, this sucks. This is taking a lot longer. But then it got easier and it got easier and it got easier as I was putting more reps in, to the point where it was like, it's gotten a lot better. And then I've noticed now that other benefits that have come with it, of actually remembering things in my life and memories that happened recently, being able to call that back in my mind, and just noticing, oh yeah, it feels like my brain is working, and all of a sudden, like something that was offline is now coming back online, and it's just a cool feeling. So when it comes to what isn't working, when you can connect that to what you want more of, which for me was what's not working is the memory. What I want more of is the ability to be better storyteller. That can help you with motivation to show up and put the reps in, and also figure out solutions and figure out, okay, who's going to help me with this stuff? Because waiting for support, what that means is you're staying stuck and you're not doing anything at all. It doesn't mean that you still can't get support. But if that's not coming to you right now, it's important for you to realize you got to go seek it out. But if you don't know what you're actually seeking out, that is where you can get taken advantage of. And I've noticed that in my own experience, where I can get taken advantage of financially, where I put an investment in something that really didn't serve me and didn't help me, and I haven't used it since. And that's something I don't want for you, where you have to have all those potential mistakes that could come up. I want you to try to be able to minimize those while still going out there and taking those risks. But again, it goes back to starting small so that you can learn those mistakes and then keep improving. But that is the first level, is what to remember, is what isn't working, connect that to what you want more of. That helps for motivation to want to show up and work on this thing in this area. The second is then the taking the action. So you've defined it. Now it's important to take action. And a way that can help you to filter out, and actually this is a really important point that I want to remind you of, is that if you are listening, I mean, you're listening to this, so you have access to so much information out there and so many resources that don't even have to cost you any money. Like, you have such an amount of resources, if that's through YouTube to just websites to something like ChatGPT, like one of the language learning models. There is such an amount of resources out there. But what's important is you've got to filter that in some way. That is figuring out what is going to be in alignment for you. Because I go to this quote by John Butcher, someone I consider a mentor in life, and that is, there is no one right way, but there is a right way for you, which is awesome to realize. So anytime you hear someone saying, no, this is the only right way to do things, this is the only way to get this result, that is where you can call bullshit on it, turn the other way, and find someone else to support you. Because what can happen is people can sell you on this idea that their way is the only way. And that's part of the sales strategies. And that's something where, if you can be able to be aware of that, you can then know what's going to be in alignment for you, right? What resonates for you, and realize, okay, this is a direction I want to move into. How I like to explain that is with the working out. So with working out, I go back to that moment in 2021 where I could barely do one pull-up at my brother's gym in his garage. And I was so pissed off and frustrated. I was like, dude, I am the guy that played 3 sports in high school and thought of myself as an athlete. All of a sudden, now I'm at this point during the pandemic and I can't even do one pull-up. Like, what the fuck is going on right now? And I remember getting my phone out, recording myself, being like, dude, it's time. Like, you've got to make a change here. And that is where I was like, okay, well, I don't have the financial resources to hire a trainer to tell me what to do, but what could I do? And so I remembered going to ChatGPT at the time, one of the language learning models, if you're not familiar with it. And I typed in, hey, like, what are some good resources for working out? And something like that for the question. I don't know the exact question. All right. I don't know the exact one, but it's something like, I need to find resources. Who could I look to? And one that came up was Athlean X, and then a few other ones. And I remember going in, and it was a YouTube. Athlean X has a YouTube channel. Jeff Cavalier is the guy that runs it. And I remember seeing one of his videos as he was going through, like, I think it was something about, I mean, God, there's been so many now I've watched, but one that I really like, it was posture, helping to have better posture. And I remember him going through it, breaking it down. He has a physical therapy background as well as like thinking about strength training background and supporting athletes, and just how he was breaking it down. I was resonating with it. And at the time, I didn't know what that was, but I realized it's a body sensation that I want to share with you so you can understand when things align with you and your vision of what you want for your life and when it doesn't, and being able to distinguish that. And at the time, I realized I had that connection, and this was someone I was going to want to learn more about. And I've gone through so many of those YouTube videos and have tried different exercises. And it goes back to thinking about the gym, thinking about working out. If you're either at the gym or a home gym or traveling, like there's so many exercises to work out the butt or work out the biceps. I think about it for like just flexing the biceps there. Like there's so many exercises to support those and for that same result. And what's helpful is to figure out which one you're going to stay consistent with, which one is in alignment for you that feels great, but there's options to choose from. And I will like to think about that for you is when you're moving towards who it is you want, for staying consistent with better habits, it's remembering that there are going to be options out there for you. And by you going out there and figuring out which ones are in alignment for, if it's actual people that can support you with their expertise, to exercises, if it's working out, to communication styles, if it's how you communicate, you're going to figure out which one's in alignment for you. And so what I want to get into now is body sensations, to what to remember with this. So for body sensations, a way that you can determine if it's in alignment or not is thinking back to just taking a moment here, and actually we'll take a deep breath in. We'll get settled in the space, release it out. Okay. And now what I'd like for you to do is to say to yourself, and you can say it out loud if you like, but you can say, my name is, and then say your name. So I'll be like, my name is Robert David. My name is Robert David. Say this for a few times. My name is Robert David. And take a time to recognize in the body, where do you notice either like a sensation that comes up, like a tingle? It could be like a tension. It could be like a flex of the muscles. But where do you notice that when you say, my name is Robert David? My name is Robert David. For me, it comes from the stomach, like that gut area, which again, it's one of the great ways for that gut feeling, like letting you know, hey, this is something you want more of. That is where it comes from for me, but it could be different for everyone. So where is that for you? Because that is when you know something is in alignment for you. You're going to get a sensation from that area. Because if you think about it, my name is Robert David. That is your truth. I mean, that's your name. So for you, that is a truth. And then you can start to distinguish what are truths out there for you and how you want to move forward in your life. Now getting into what isn't alignment. So a way you can do that is actually doing a lie to yourself and actually verbalizing it. So you can say, my name is not your name, something random. So here we go. I'm going to be like, my name is Jeff. My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff. When I say that, where I notice my attention go and where I notice my focus is in my head. So in my head, that's where I notice some body sensations that come up, some tingles, and they could be subtle. I want to remind you, it could be very subtle. If you're still not connecting to it, say it on repeat. You may have to say it 100 times, but just repeat it for both of those so that you start to get a sense of where in your body that area, where you connect to in that area. This is like epic and next level shit, because what this can do is become your filter for everything that's coming your way. What people tell you that may sound super charismatic and certain, to what you see online, to the stories that you're reading, to information that you're getting. You're able to filter all that and then be able to start to create a greater level of trust within your own body. And that's what's so cool, is when you're not waiting for support and you're going out there and getting curious and taking action, you are creating a deeper level of trust with your body, which then produces confidence within you to know that you can handle situations and challenges that are going to come your way because you're moving through life. And that is an amazing gift to give to yourself and to help you to not feel like you're holding yourself back, but actually moving forward and sometimes rapidly towards who it is you want to become, to staying consistent with your better habits, and to making burnout extinct. The next one I want to get into, and actually before I even get into that, what I want to remind you is there is going to be a natural testing phase with anything. Even if someone says, hey, you could save a decade by learning from me, you're still going to have to test things out. And especially if that's in health and fitness, communication, for your relationships, you're still having to figure out, it's that first phase of habit formation, the awkward phase. That is where it's going to be awkward at first. And you can think about it also as spaghetti. It's like, it's going to be a mess. So it's remembering that where you start isn't going to be where you end up with staying consistent with your better habits and moving towards who it is you want to become. But you got to remember that there is that natural phase that comes up. And usually it's in this point after you've recognized your body sensations and you're taking action to get information out there. And again, it goes back to like what I wanted to do was how do I get better for my fitness? And where I focused on was my posture. That's where what isn't working was my posture. I didn't feel confident in that, how it was standing, and I wanted to improve that. And that then created the snowball effect to like work on, okay, strength. I wanted to get stronger. My hamstrings were really tight. How do I make sure that those are better? How do I, enhance my glutes and make sure my butt is like looking epic? And then it even got me to understanding all the back muscles and understanding even the thoracic spine. And it got me this snowball of curiosity that has improved dramatically my own health and fitness. And all started on YouTube. Next point that I want to get into is that you don't need someone to be on the exact same journey as you. We're all on our own journeys, right? We can have similarities of what we're going through and the struggles and the challenges, but you are your own journey. And that's really important to remember, is that you don't need someone to be on that exact same journey. And that goes back to where you may not feel supported with your family or your friends or your community, of either people joining you on those same activities that you're wanting to do and learn about, or you feel like they may be trying to hold you back and questioning you constantly. So if you're having to deal with that, with the constant questioning, it's just remember you're on your own journey. And I want to remind you that you can absolutely not take advice if it doesn't resonate and feel in alignment with your life, because it's your life. That's like, you got to remember that this is your life and it's your journey that you're on. So when it comes to the faith, there's a lot of faith that has to come up here of doing things alone. I've gotten much better at this over the years. And it's gotten to the point where I actually had to go the other way of really searching out community and connecting with people. I was struggling with that for a bit because I was so comfortable of just doing things on my own. And that would be, if that's going out for a walk, to the park, going and seeing a movie, eating dinner at a restaurant. Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable for me. Yeah, at the beginning. And it was definitely, there'd be some days better than others for when I would do stuff by myself, because you can go down those spirals of thinking of, I'm feeling lonely, which I felt that before. And then feeling like, this is going to be your permanent reality, which again, it goes back to, this is temporary. And I go back to this Alex Hormozi quote that really helps, where now is not forever. And when it comes to this when it comes to this area, it's faith to do things alone and discover new communities for people to connect with. So I think about that for me when I work from home, and when I've had like a lot of hours inside, I want to get outside. And sometimes I would want to like have my partner come with me and go for a walk, but I have to remind myself I can just get outside on my own and go for a walk. And by doing that, it's something I want to do for myself. I don't need another person to come with me to go do that. And what I realized when I did that was I felt better and I felt energized coming back from the walk. So when you are either wanting to do something as simple as that of getting outside for a walk, or if you want to go and connect with new communities, is remembering that you absolutely can do this alone. People have done this before. I've done it. I remember during the pandemic where I was living back with my parents and I wanted to connect with new communities. And I reached out. I just did a cold email to a community 29029. It's an endurance event. And I reached out to them, went, volunteered, and then from there got more involved in the community. And that had to have a lot of faith to be able to do that alone and just go for it. And then from there, connect with new friends and people connect with people there that had similar interests that then helped me in certain areas of my life. So it could be that, it could be running clubs, it could be pickleball. There's so many other communities out there waiting for you to discover that. And what's important is to remember you can do that alone. You don't have to wait for that support to go and do that. Some other things to remember for you to help you to move forward is that you can start small. When it comes to taking that action and moving forward in life and realizing that you're going to have the answer within you, start small. When it comes to those habits, if that's working out, to working on your communication style, to focusing on growth in your career, start small, figure out what isn't working. And then with the action, being able to learn lessons from the mistakes, because you will make mistakes along the way. And it's taking, okay, what is that lesson? And then letting go of the mistake. Because sometimes you can hold on to that. And that's where we have some shame and guilt that can build within the body and can move you towards hitting burnout and being dragged by the burnout beast. So being able to let go of those mistakes, you got to remember they're natural to happen in your life. And then remember to improve from there and give yourself grace during the moments where you get off track. Because as you show up and you stay consistent with better habits and put in those reps, there are going to be moments where you're going to get off track. I talk about it as like that, especially with any new habit, usually on average, that what I've noticed in the work is between day 4 and day 7. That's where you can get off track. And there can be natural resistance that comes up from the body, because with anything new, it creates uncertainty and the body wants to keep you safe. And so it may try to resist so that you stay in your old ways and old patterns. But again, if that goes back to, if you do nothing, you're going to have that one-way ticket to burnout. And so when you can realize that there's going to be natural resistance from the body, you can honor those feelings. And that's where sometimes you'll have to cry and just let it out let it out that way. You may have to scream. Like I think about that roar, like I used to do it in a pillow to now I just let it out. Or you actually have to do like an intense like movement, if that's push up, like an intense workout, but something that can move that energy through and that resistance through. So then you can show up and put those reps in for that habit that you're focusing in on. And then it's remembering that each new day is a day to reset and be able to remind you that you can show up, put the reps in, and continue to move forward towards who it is you want to become. Because if you wait for that support, and I know how that can feel of thinking that everyone else has all the answers. But when you can come back to realizing that you have most of those answers within you, there's a level of confidence that can develop and self-reliance and trust within yourself that then opens up so many more doorways of possibilities for your life. Dreams that you've set out for yourself won't even compare to then where you move for possibilities in your life and what you think you're capable of. But it's remembering that you have to first identify what isn't working that you can connect with. What do you want more of? Take that action, recognize your body sensations of what's in alignment, what isn't in alignment. And then remembering you don't need someone to be on the exact same journey as you for you to move forward and continue to grow, and to have faith that there can be other people coming into your life, new friends that can come in, that you can meet, that can support you along the way. But it starts with you. And you can start small for the highest percentage chance of staying consistent with your better habits in the long term. You got this. If you like this episode, please don't forget to leave a rating or review for this podcast and help get this message out of Make Burnout Extinct. And you can share what resonates with you from this episode by connecting with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I don't take that for granted ever. And I'm so excited to reconnect again soon.